What's up, guys? Xenogard here. This is probably going to be my final update to my Bane Trickster build. It's a little bit late. I was sick for about a week and a half, and it was really hard to record any videos, get any streaming done, really do anything. It was hard to talk, I had a sore throat and everything. So, finally getting around to it now. We are currently level 93 on the Trickster. I'll go over that in a second. We're at 124 out of 159 on the Atlas. I'm currently working on the Zana quest before I finish Shaper. I know I have enough damage to do Shaper easily, and then I'll do Uber Elder. If I end up doing Uber Elder and it ends up being like a cakewalk, I probably won't make an update video to this, but if it ends up being a little bit of a struggle and I have to retweak some things, I'll probably revisit this and make one final video on it. But for now, I've been able to do pretty much every single map mod. I can do any map. I just follow my maps with reckless abandon and get them done. The characters' deaths, I'm at 18 deaths. A lot of those are bullshit. A lot of those were me testing things out. Obviously, the very first video I made for this, I had like, I think, between 4 and 6. I can't remember. I've died to some stupid stuff, but it was mostly me just testing things out or just being dumb. It happens. I will run a map for you guys because I noticed in the last couple videos I didn't run any maps. But first, I'll just go over what my final passive tree looks like, and I'll link a path of building to this down below. But we ended up going with Phase Acrobatics. We got Herbalism down here. Took this whole wheel. For 94, I'm probably going to take this Jewel Socket, refund one of these Evasion and Lives, get a little bit extra life, and then 95, take this other one. I don't really have much else to do. But we got all the good stuff here in Shadow went down. This isn't exactly how I leveled it, but, you know, we got Method of Madness down here. We got Atrophy up here. We got X-Master. Eldritch Battery, you know, Whispers of Doom, Corruption, and then we ended up taking Spiritual Aid over Arcane Swiftness. The only reason I ended up doing this is Arcane Swiftness is actually a really good node, but because I took Acrobatics, and even with using Arumis in Acrobatics, you can see I'm not using Arumis anymore. Even with Arumis in Acrobatics, I have so much dodge already and dodge and evasion already that's making up most of my damage mitigation. So having the block wasn't really that great, and getting a 30% decrease to block while using Arcane Swiftness was pretty big, so it actually lowered our damage quite a bit from Arcane Swiftness. So for instead of these 4 points, these 4 points with Roomies are technically better even with the hit to block, but for the extra 1 point, it's a little bit extra damage when Roomies isn't up, and this is damage all the time, so I ended up going with Spiritual Aid in the long run. But we basically just stretched around this whole time, this whole path on the outside, ended up getting all the life that we could. Arcane Expanse is still a great node. We ended up dropping the Mind Over Matter because we are running a Cloak of Defiance. I'm currently trying to 6-link a Cloak of Defiance. We're running the Goal just because this is great in conjunction with Solstice Vigil. The two sync together very well. We just have a really nice shield. I would like to dual wield wands at some point, but for now this is the wand that I have. I think this is still the wand that I've had for a while. I'm waiting to get the multi-mod craft and then multi-mod a bunch of stuff onto it, and, you know, annul off the attack speed when I get a chance. And then we're running a Lillipathy still, and we're running Wind Shrieks finally for the extra area of effect, which makes our Bane basically hit the entire screen, which is really, really nice. I will probably be switching to Soulrend to clear when I get a chance to get the Celestial Cat Soulrend, but for now I'm still enjoying Bane, so I'm going to take Bane all the way through to Uber Elder and, you know, get that done. I don't think we've changed anything with the skills since the last time I've spoken, other than we're running Temp Chains, Enfeeble, and a Blasphemy setup with Malevolence. We've dropped, for now, Discipline because we don't really need it. We have like 5k life, a little bit of Discipline. The one thing that we do have is, because we're using Cloak of Defiance, this gives us a 40% effective Mind Over Matter, but we're also using the Malevolence Watcher's Eye, and I happen to get one with Clarity on it too, so I have a level 1 Clarity, so we actually have a 50% effective mind over matter, which is pretty nice, and we're not affected by bleeding, which is why I was able to drop my Staunching Flask for a Blood of the Krui. And on a Trickster with the extra 60% increased life recovery from flasks when on low life, this basically ends up being equivalent or better to a bubbling flask and an instant flask. It's extremely powerful. Then you have the additional effect of recover full life at the end of the flask effect. So if you happen to be hit while the flask is still going, and then the flask ends, you get popped back up to full anyway. And with the amount of evasion that we have for Ghost, for Escape Artist, and the Ghost Shrouds, with flasks up, we have something like 26k evasion, which basically every time we get hit, it immediately refills our energy shield pool. So that is what the final build for the Bane Trickster ended up being. We have just a single curse with Bane currently because I'm running the Blasphemy Temp Chain setup. It does pretty good damage. Like I said, I will link the paste bin below. But for now, I will run a real quick map. This is a T15. It's a waste pool. I think it had something like 120% quantity and like 38-ish% pack size on it. So we'll just go ahead, we'll run this real quick. Show you what the build's capable of. There are a few weird things with Bane that I don't really like. For instance, like if you like hit things in a doorway, it doesn't always get around it. Like the area of effect, you still need line of sight of the monsters. You could tell I don't have an SSD, I'm sorry. If you don't have line of sight of monsters, the area of effect doesn't always hit, which is a little annoying. But other than that, it's still pretty good. It does have problems with sometimes having the double tap packs if you have Beyond or something like that on your map. But I mean, it's still an enjoyable playstyle in my experience. Like I don't mind the double tapping. It's it's pretty quick to cast, so you can just spam cast it all you want. It's pretty good. Sometimes there might be little stragglers here and there. I don't really mind it too much. Some other people might mind it. For that reason alone, I would say Soulrend, from the little bit I've tested using it on clear, is probably a little bit better, but one of the possible synthesis mods you can get on a wand is 3% of monsters explode for 3% of their health as physical damage, which I'm thinking about getting on a wands, just for that little bit extra clear. It kind of like gives the boom boom effect of an occultist or obliteration wands. Here, we'll go ahead and we'll do the boss so you can kind of see the single target damage a little bit. Single target damage, there's some things I could do. I'm using Castle Channeling, Soulrend, and Essence Drain, which is pretty good, but it's not the absolute end all be all fastest. That was very almost bad. That's what I get for not paying attention. But it's still pretty decent in my opinion. The single target, it could be better. There are ways I could make it better, but that's not what I'm really focused on right now. I'm mostly just using it to clear maps. But I mean, it is there. It is damage over time also, so you have to keep that in mind when you're taking into account how much damage it does. If I just hit Dodra there and walked away, she probably would have died from only one cast of Bane, maybe two. But I do, like I said, have Castle Channeling, Soulrend for the single target. Soulrend and Essence Drain, both of them combined, gives a little bit of extra damage and, life regen and stuff. So I left a bunch remaining, apparently. Is there stuff up near Zana? Honestly, I thought that was the end of the map, but apparently not. I must have left a big chunk over here. And then we'll do the... Oh yeah, we left a lot over here. So, 5 monsters remaining. That's pretty decent. We'll go ahead and we'll run this memory nexus. And I immediately have seemed like I've chosen the wrong area.
Just outside the
But
Paris.
I, so far, have been enjoying Bane quite a bit. I mean, you might not enjoy this playstyle. You might like the fact that you know, Soulrend can clear like off screen and stuff. But personally, I don't mind this. Although you'll see here, like, sometimes if you don't have line of sight, you'll hit things. Sometimes not. Yeah. Kind of, I don't know. It's something to get used to, but I definitely enjoy the skill. I think it's a lot of fun. I will be trying out Soulrend next, but yeah, that's my take on the Trickster Bane build. That was a really clean T15. I don't even, we got a couple maps back from it, so it wasn't too bad. We did get a Lair of the Hydra and a Coliseum, so it's pretty good. Map drops are way boosted, so that's always great. But anyway, my name has been Xenogard. This is probably going to be the final version of my build, and I'll see you guys next time.